I never really knew what your affiliation was, because usually you come on and you talk about business issues. We don't really delve into politics, but you write a very personal essay.
Yeah.
What's the answer to your question? Why did you leave the party?
Well, I mean, so first of all, I'm a political moderate, and so I, ideologically, I'm somewhere in between the two parties. I'd always been a Republican. I grew up a Republican. I'm from Massachusetts, which I think has produced a lot of very good Republican governors. Incidentally, there are 4 living current or former Republican governors of Massachusetts, and all of them are opposed to Trump. And I had some differences with the party on ideology, but what we've watched is the Republican Party be taken over by a fascist, and then all of these people in the party who supposedly had conservative principles and supposedly cared about the institutions that make America great and free have lined up behind him, in a lot of cases knowing full well he'd be a dangerous president. Marco Rubio himself said that Donald Trump could not be trusted with nuclear weapons, and then he and so many of these other people endorsed him anyway for reasons of careerism or cowardice or strategy, trying to position themselves for 2020, and it's posing a grave risk to the country that I just find horrifying.
Fascist is a strong word, Josh.
It is a strong word, and it's a word that for years I resisted whenever people said it in politics. But I think you can watch Donald Trump out there with his authoritarian tendencies and talking about how we'd be better off if we didn't have the New York Times, leading these rallies saying that we ought to put his political opponent in jail. You even see his supporters chanting "lock her up" about the women accusing him of sexual assault. So I think Donald Trump is a person with disregard for the rule of law, with disregard for America's constitutional institutions, and who would like to be a strongman. So I think it's an appropriate word for him.
You discussed groups of Republicans that made choices about whether to support Donald Trump's candidacy. You called them fools. You called some of them naive. Others withheld support, but you say you know others that knew how dangerous he was, and you focus in on Marco Rubio, Ted Cruz, and Paul Ryan.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, you can look at the comments that these people made before they came around to Marco Rubio called Donald Trump a con artist who could not be trusted with nuclear weapons. Ted Cruz said that he was utterly amoral. He gave that speech telling people to vote their conscience, with the strong implication that it was not within his conscience to vote for Donald Trump. And then you've seen the pain in Paul Ryan's face. And you saw Paul Ryan initially, when it became clear that Trump was going to get the nomination, saying, "I'm not there yet. I can't quite back him." But it's clear that Paul Ryan has come under intense pressure from voters, from members of his own caucus. And the calculus is clear. Splintering the party will be bad for Republicans' ability to hold on to the House. So there are good careerist reasons for Donald Trump for Paul Ryan to endorse Donald Trump. On the other hand, the risk is that with the party lining up behind him, they could have actually made this guy president, which would have been bad for conservative principles, let alone for the freedom of the country and the well-being of Americans. So it was putting those personal political interests ahead of what he clearly knows is grave risk to the country.
You've changed your voter registration.
Yeah.
Are you going to vote for Hillary Clinton?
I am going to vote for Hillary Clinton. I've split tickets before for years. I've voted Republican in the last 3 mayor's races here in New York. But it's, I have disagreements with Hillary Clinton, both on policy and, a lot of the scandals that people are bothered about with her, I'm bothered too. I think there is too much of a nexus of money and influence within the Clinton world sphere. I like the Barack Obama approach to conflicts of interest better than hers. But whatever concerns I have about her just pale in comparison to the concerns about Donald Trump.
Jossh Barro, senior editor at Business Insider. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
After the break, full court press. The Clinton campaign moves into Arizona, hoping to steal a deeply rooted red state with a November